Speaking of castles, we have a game to talk about today from Stonemaier Games. It is a mishmash. This is the first time I've heard of this happening. A game that is two games crammed into one game, and a new child comes out of that. It's a really cool idea. This is Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Takes Between Two Cities and the castles of Mad King Ludwig and crams them together into this amalgam. Now the interesting thing is, when you mix two things like this, you can have three things happen. You can have something that is equally as good as both of the games that go into it. You can have something that takes all of the good things and gets rid of them and takes all the bad things and goes forward with it. Or you can take something that gets rid of the bad things and goes forward with all the good things. I know that's pretty self-evident, but does Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig do any of that, or is it its own weird rare breed? Let's take a look right now at how it plays and find out if it's worth your time to check out. So here's Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig right here. Now, you would have thought that would have been a much messier little drop there, but you know that my favorite thing is when a game has good organization. And check this out. Long gone are the days of throw everything just into the top of the box. No. Today we have a castle, right? It actually looks like a castle with all the tiles that you're going to need for a game inside of here. So you have different types of tiles. These two-sided tiles down here, these blue ones are a little bit specialty tiles. These here, notice they're laid out. It's maybe hard to see in the video, but this says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are the players. What you do is, when you finish one game, when you shuffle all the tiles, you put 9 in each of these, and you're ready for the next game. So when one person goes, they just grab up this. Well, there's their first hand for the first round. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tiles, and you're ready to go. You don't have to just cull through and try to find 9 tiles out of there. You go, okay, here's my first round. Boom, we're done with the first round. All right, here's my second round, just like that. It's super easy and such a cool idea to have them already sitting there. Some people might say, well, that's not quite random enough. Of course it is, if you think about it, because you're shuffling them after the game previously rather than before you play this one. You also have all the different castle looking shapes that are the nice wooden castles here that kind of denote who's on what side. They're not screen printed like the Between Two Cities ones are, but these are still really cool looking. Again, it plays up to 7 people. You gotta love a game that plays that many people. Everyone will start with one of these tiles down here. It's kind of a foyer tile. You'll start with this, and then on your turn, you'll draw, just like in the other games, you'll draw 2 of the tiles that you have in your hand. You'll then pass to the left on the first round and then pass to the right on the second round. Take 2 of these. One of them is going to play on the castle to your left. One of them is going to play on the castle to your right. Again, you're seated in a way where you're playing on the castle between you and the person next to you. So it will play here, and this will play here. And you'll do that, rinse and repeat, until you've placed out all of your tiles. Now, let's talk about how these tiles score a little bit differently. Couple different rules. Blue tiles nothing can be placed on top of blue tiles. So if you get these specialty tower tiles, or some of these in general just have a blue outline, they're outdoor tiles, so you couldn't place above them. Just a neat little rule there. Let's talk about what happens when you get a bonus in this game. This one's a little bit different on scoring and everything. So you notice when you play 3 of the same type of room in your castle, you get a bonus. So this is how they typically score. So yellow buildings, the food ones, they can only be played above ground. They're 2 points per the tile that is above them or below them, with whatever symbol it mentions, which would be these types of symbols. Now there are round symbols as well, which are just another type of symbol. They literally just stand for that to get points. They don't really mean anything else. So purple, the living rooms, they get a point per whatever tile it'll tell you, directly adjacent to it, orthogonally or diagonally. The orange ones, they get a point per connected of a symbol. Now that means if you can draw a straight contiguous line all the way through it, you get to count those. The outdoor ones are just a point per type of tile. Sleeping quarters, you get 4 points if you have all 6 colors, and only 1 point if you do not have all 6 colors. So it's kind of a bummer there. These all are placed upstairs. The downstairs rooms that you can place would be a corridor. It scores, now this is where that other symbol I was mentioning, it scores a point per circle symbol, which you'll notice in the top right of this one is a mirror. It gets a point per circle symbol surrounding it. Downstairs, they're a point per symbol anywhere above it or anywhere below it. So all the way in a straight line. up or down. And some of these specialty tiles do the same thing. Like the tower, once it gets capped, it gets points for anything below it. The fountain's just a straight 5 points, and the grand foyer is a point per tile that surrounds it in general. The bonuses, though, would be if you place 3 yellows, you get to draw 5 tiles and place 1. That would be one of these little areas here. The living quarters, you get to take one of these little bonuses. Now, I love this, by the way. They're little courtesans, little knights and things like that that help out your castle. They also fit perfectly. The art fits exactly right there, so it looks pretty great. And they give you a point per those little round symbols like I was mentioning earlier, depending on which one you pick, as well as that's what they do. They give you a point for those round symbols per tile you have. Then you have draw 3 of these cards, and these are just specialty little bonus cards. Like you get a point per regular and specialty room type, per total height, 1 point per room on level 3 and higher. All kinds of different ways to just score points. So these cards are really nice to have. You then have you just get a fountain, you get a tower, or you get a grand foyer. And then the last one for the downstairs is you choose any other bonus. A bonus for any regular room type of 5 or more tiles is you just get to pick one of these tiles here. So good way to get tiles out there. You'll play and rinse and repeat until everyone finishes. You'll then score the buildings of the castle to your left. Whichever score you have as your lowest castle score between the two is the score you keep as your main score. If you're tied with that with someone else, you compare your highest number of castles. Whoever comes out the winner is the winner of the game. Solo winner. So that's it. That's how it plays. I love the fact, first of all, let's talk about all the positive things of this. I love how it looks. Like everything in here is so, and I like Between Two Cities, but having this little insert to hold everything is such a good idea. It's so nice to be able to just grab 9 tiles for your turn and go. It makes the game much, much faster. And so at the end of the game, when you clean up, you're actually setting up for the next game. And I think that's a good little trick. I love the way it looks. I like how the buildings look. It's very nice. The rules are clean. The rules are easy to understand. Each tile is easy to figure out what it does. The only negatives I would have would be the scoring is really difficult at the end because there's a lot to count. But that that going in, because if you played Between Two Castles, or if you played Castles of Mad King Ludwig, you know that the scoring on that's not 100% easy because of the different types of tiles. And then Between Two Cities, is also introduces that system of you have 2 cities to your name. Whichever one of those is your lowest scoring city is the score you get as your score, which means you cannot just ignore one side and put all your attention on the other side, or you'll lose. You can't do that. So it incentivizes you to build up both cities equally, which is kind of what you want. You want your high score and your low score to be really similar. So I love that about Between Two Cities the first time I ever played it. And multiple times since, the idea that you have to think for both people, left and right of you. It's a really cool concept. So seeing a sequel of that and a mishmash of a game that does a lot of cool things with its building types, its types of tiles in the first place of Castles of Mad King Ludwig is really good. Now, the things I don't like about the originals is Between Two Cities always felt a little bit simple. I like the expansion, of course, and then Castles of Mad King Ludwig felt too complex. Like it was too much crammed into it. For instance, the setting the market price, too much for me. Setting the different types of tiles, and the fact that it does look adorable to have those cool looking different odd shaped tiles, but I think going the square tile route, making it uniform, really actually makes this better, even though it looks cooler in the original. So to sum everything up, I think Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig is the definitive way to play both of these games in a distilled form. Don't think you're going to get the full experience of, well, I take that back. You're getting the full experience of Between Two Cities in this, in my opinion, but you're not getting the full experience of Castles of Mad King Ludwig. So just know that going in, that you can get rid of Between Two Cities if you wanted to because of Between Two Castles. Or you could keep both Castles of Mad King Ludwig and this because you still have a lot of elements that were not carried over from it that were carried over from Between Two Cities. So just to clarify what I'm saying, this is more Between Two Cities in style and format than it is Castles of Mad King Ludwig because of the way the simplicity of the game is. So if you liked either of those two games, this game's for you. If you didn't like one or the other, which one is it that you didn't like? Maybe this game's still for you. If you didn't like Castles of Mad King Ludwig, this game might still be for you. If you didn't like Between Two Cities, probably a hard pass on this one unless you love Castles of Mad King Ludwig. So just keep that in mind as you go forward. that it's not quite as simple as it seems of, well, we're just taking these two games and mashing it together. It does have some nuance to it to where it's more closely related to between two cities, but if you like those games, fantastic. So again, I'm rambling on about this, but again, it's a good game. It's a pretty game. It looks nice. It's fun to play. It's fast to play, and it plays a lot of people. It's always good to find a game that plays a lot of people that is this exciting of a game. It's not like a quick card game or a quick filler type game. It's actually got some deep strategy in it, and it plays up to 7 people at the same amount of time as it plays 3 people. There's no difference in timing because everybody plays simultaneously. So that is what I love about it. High player count. Pretty fast game. It says 45 to 60 minutes. That's probably accurate, and that depends on how long your players go. Maybe I could put this on. It's all up to you. So this is a good game, and I think you're going to like it. It's got a good place on most everyone's shelves because the weight of the game is not too heavy, and the speed of the game is pretty fast. And it's actually one of the few games I think you could play much faster than 45 to 60 minutes once you get everything down. So that's it for this time. I'm Brian Drake here on The Latest Retro. Make sure to check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and all that stuff at The Latest Retro. And until next time, we'll see you here on the Dice Tower.
So much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower